Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network, where tonight we kick off the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series with the DesignPing 300 live from Daytona. Joining me in the booth is Jake Adams, and of course, the great leader over here at Elite Racing Network, Dave Huckleberry. As you see here, are the weather for the race: 79 degrees, no rain in the forecast. It does not appear. Partly cloudy out here. Going to have a little bit of wind. Should be a great race. Jake's new this year. Jake, what are you hoping to learn tonight? I know you're doing some off-track duties as well, but it's going to be a lot of fun to get to work with you throughout this season. So, what are you most excited to see tonight?
I'm just most excited to hopefully just see a bunch of green flag racing. Um, Let my duties be short and sweet. Trying to do triple duty here, watching the Ohio State game and all that. So hopefully everybody just lets me have a nice clean night.
And of course, Dave is here to get the season started off right. Dave, you're working down here with us tonight. What are you looking to see this season, and what are you hoping to see tonight?
Two different things. I hope a nice, peaceful season, but tonight should be chaos. So that if you embrace the chaos and you get what you expect, then you have fun. So
Yeah, and qualifying just wrapped up, and I mean to tell you, times are tight. We're talking about a tenth of a second from first all the way down to 43rd. Absolutely incredibly tight times tonight. Jonathan Cutlip on the pole, Fody, David Tooker, Corey Abbott, Justin Wadsworth, Ethan Burrell, William White, Ethan Stanley, Dustin Dewar, and Zach Evans are going to be in the top 10. Jake, when you see those lap times, what does that tell you here? I mean, that's about as tight as I've ever seen in an elite qualifying session.
Yeah, it tells me everybody did a good job holding the wheel straight, kept the throttle out of the floor, and then just let everything else happen.
Yeah, and one of the guys who missed the field here is Jeff Ryan has missed the field. I believe Hunter Smith has missed the show. I think Kyle Hanshaw missed the show as well. You have to qualify. Oh, wait a minute. We might get a rule change on the fly. We're going to see what happens here. Okay, they're looking at the Hunter Smith qualifying lap to see. Apparently, he hit the wall. So they are looking for confirmation of Hunter Smith hitting the wall. So a whole lot going on here. While they're trying to set all this up, I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors. Of course, Mark Rebilas for all he does for Elite. You know, he stayed with us here. He's been with us ever since I got here. And then our other sponsors for tonight, of course, the DesignPing 300. DesignPing is a design agency that specializes in creating websites and digital content that not only look incredible, but also enables your business to outperform all your competitors. Blue Egg Marketing got that win in the Truck Series last night. Great looking scheme. And they've been a partner of ours for quite a while now as well. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to big wins. And then, of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway. They are a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. Close to the Gateway Arch, it features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series. A 2 mile road course that is used by Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. And a 1/4 mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals event. And the Kartplex, a state of the art karting facility. So we give a big shout out to all those sponsors who are returning. DesignPing came on, I believe, during the last season, and then, of course, Gateway Worldwide Technology and Blue Egg have been with us for quite a while. As we are trying to set up the field here to see who made it and who did not make it, Jake, do you have any confirmation on who is going home and who is not?
So far, I have Patrick Hahi missed the race, Brent Jones missed the race, Jeff Ryan, I believe there was one more. There was Wilkinson did miss the race. And then Hunter Smith and Kyle Hanshaw did not set lap time, but attempted a lap time, so they're locked in. So it looks like we're starting 44 or 45 cars here.
All right, I believe we started 46 last night, right, Dave? And Dave made his Truck Series debut last night.
Let's not talk about it. Let's just move on.
Only can get better from there, Dave.
That's right. I can't do any worse. Guess I could have wrecked on lap 1.
So here we are trying to get this field set up, trying to get everything set up. Josh Adams, Mr. Super Speedway, he did not have a good showing last night. And then tonight, another poor qualifying effort. I was getting asked last night if he was washed, so we'll have to find out if Josh Adams is washed tonight. A couple bad runs in a row is not what you want going into the Daytona 500 as the cars begin to roll off the pit road here. So as they get set up to roll, Jake, I'm going to go to you first. You're the newbie here, so you'll get the first pick tonight. Who is your pick to win the race?
Well, I'm not sure if my pick is going to finish the entire race, but just so I don't put any bad mojo on Ohio State, I'm taking Josh again tonight.
I don't think you should be able to keep picking Josh like this. I mean, it's not working out.
Tonight's the only night.
It's been a rough stretch of racing here for Josh Adams. So Dave, I'm gonna throw it over to you, Dave. Who is your pick to win tonight?
How about Cutlip?
Jonathan Cutlip, right there, our pool sitter. I feel like I'm just gonna go blindfolded, throw a dart at the wall here. Man, I don't know. I mean, we had Frank Fody win our last Super Speedway race out in Talladega. So I'm gonna try to find me a first-time winner. And I'm just looking through this list to see who's here, see who's in here.
Well, while
You
we're
know who I'm
figuring
gonna
all
pick?
that out, Michael Goodman money shifted his car taken off, and he is out of the race.
Oh, that is not good. That is, oh man, that is. We might get an interview with him here soon. You know what? I'm gonna take. I'll take a guy that we had a little bit of
Gotta get the audio fixed.
a little bit of an issue there the other day. I am going to take Daniel Martinez to win this race. As the field gets ready to go green. Green is out, and it is Cutlip and Fody on the front row. Heading for turn number 1. You got Tooker up there. You got Corey Abbott, I believe, up there in 4th, and Justin Wadsworth right there in P5. And Matthew Weeks is pulling out. That's a strategy out of Matthew Weeks. If I had to guess, just going to the apron, going to the back. These lines pushing hard. I think we'll see this outside lane get a big shove here down the backstretch.
See our first 3 wide. I think that's Scott Crump in the middle, trying to make some ground up in the middle here.
Yes, Scott's very aggressive, going to try to find his way to the front. Everybody kind of getting a feeling out here for how these cars are going to drive, how they're going to draft. To my knowledge, this is the first time a big pack of cars have been out here together in the Mark Rebilas Photography Grand National Series this season. So everything we've had so far on track has been in the Cup car or the truck. So tonight's the first time these guys are going to get a feel for any kind of changes we've had since Talladega as far as build updates and whatnot.
Yeah, in my experience, these cars have always lined up pretty well, and you don't really have a hard time pushing, so we shouldn't really, hopefully, see any problems with that.
That's the kiss of death right there on the race. Shouldn't see any problems. Mark it down. Lap 2, Jake Adams said it.
Hey, I'm not down there doing it. It's the good part about being up here now.
That's right. You don't make people as mad up here either as you do on the racetrack sometimes.
Yeah,
you know,
when they're mad, you get to talk to them, and you don't have people mad at you most of the time.
But nonetheless, as we complete lap 3, it is still John Cutlip, Tyler Fody up here side by side. Taking a look at the help in all the lines. Of course, Tooker giving a big push there to his teammate John Cutlip. Cutlip with that EPI machine, same scheme from last year.
Still basically looks like we just started the race. As I say that, John Cutlip comes up and blocks the outside.
But here's the third lane, Ethan Stanley. Do they shuffle Cutlip right here? Or is Ethan Stanley going to be the one that gets shuffled?
Looks like nobody wants to go up there and help him just yet. But if he would have gotten up there about a car length further, he would have had his teammate right there behind Cutlip. Maybe they would have shuffled him then, but Stanley just didn't have the help that he needed coming to Tyler.
Well, here we go. Crump going to go with him? Or no, Crump's lifting to let him in. Chad Frankenfield not happy about him letting that teammate in.
Now here we've got a big wad of 3 wide about mid-pack.
Yeah, and Chad had a rough go of it last night. He was involved in a few different wrecks there, and we saw quite a few blowovers. I'm curious if we'll see any blowovers tonight. As Cutlip's working both sides of the street up here right now. I wonder how long these guys are going to put up with that. Right now, probably early in the race, they're not going to do anything crazy, but a little bit later, guys might not put up with that so much.
Yeah, now you've got 120 laps to get to the front. We're starting to see, though, who is going to be looking for these points coming up every 30 laps. We got here lap 30, lap 60, and then the final run to 120. Who wants the stage points that they want to get up here now?
Well, I think now it's still too early to be trying to be super aggressive, trying to get up here for some stage points. But at some point, you also have to make the decision if you can't get there. So I think right now everybody's riding in line, trying to make moves. Maybe if the move looks good, you know, it's something you might try. But at some point, you have to kind of concede defeat if you're back there in 15th or 20th with 3 to go, 2 to go. You just might get caught up in a wreck that happens up there right at that stage point line.
I think for the first time we're starting to see some cars maybe get a little bit hot. Looks like Corey Abbott was a little hot. He had to back off of Tyler. We'll see if that gives any run to the bottom lane. As we say that, Cutlip goes to the top again. He's doing a really good job working both lanes. So far, everybody's going to be pretty tame and dealing with that, and we'll wait and see if somebody hangs him out later that doesn't want him controlling both lanes.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit on a paint scheme up here right now that I see. Our Cup champion from last year, Justin Wadsworth, there in the 6th, driving with a great cause. I believe that is the St. Jude Children's Hospital on that car. Great looking scheme, great looking cause. I'm not sure if there's anything else going on with that as far as like some kind of donation for certain markers he's trying to hit or something, but that's a great scheme and a great cause to race for here as he starts the season.
Yeah, if he doesn't have any information on that himself, there's all over the place. There's different places you can go and donate to the Children's Hospital, and they do a lot of good work. As he talking about him, he's sideways, saved it.
What a save!
Wow.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back. It's in the back. Oh, big wreck back here. I think I saw Harry back in there. Try to get a good look here at what happened for this wreck to happen. I think it was Harris and Talon is where this is. Everybody checks up. Harrison gets hit. 24 gets into Gavin. Gavin's into the 51. The 02 into the 9. Michael Hosick right back there. Josh Robin looks like he does a great job checking up. The 60's back there involved. Not sure who the 60 is and if it's a real number or not. We'll have to look through my list here. That's Cale Pocock, I believe is how you say that name. Nice looking scheme there, kind of a retro scheme. There's Hunter Smith back there. I think Josh Robin right there in the 8 does a great job seeing this happen and getting checked up as well. Everybody just checks up, sees it at different points here. That 60 maybe could have done a little better job checking up. It might have been a little bit on him getting into that wreck. That's gotta use your brake pedal a little bit more right there, but nonetheless, he got lucky and made his way through there. And of course, all of that started with the checkup. I mean, what a save by our Cup champion from last year, Justin Wadsworth, to get that sideways right as we were talking about him. I think he had a little bit of a bad push from William White there. Oh, you see what it is. Cutlip pulls down. Justin just gets on the apron a little bit, gets up the track. William White gets into the back of him. And a great save by Justin, but a great job by William White and Dustin Dewar. I believe that's Josh Adams right there, that third car in line. Those guys all got checked up and didn't run over each other, and that would have created quite a big wreck if those guys would not have been so heads up in that situation. But I believe Jake has had to give out his first tally of the race, maybe, or no tally there, Jake. What'd you see out there?
Yeah, I'd attribute that to a racing incident, just from the second, third lane or whatever up front that got turned, just accordion to the back. So I can't really put that on one individual at all. So it's just going to be a super speedway racing incident.
Yeah, and Carlos sitting on pit road right now fixing his car. There goes the 60 off of pit road as well. Just 9 laps in to get our first caution, and now, you're going to restart probably 20 to go to the end of that first stage. What are you thinking here, Jake? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. If you're up front, you're obviously gonna try to stay up front. But what are you thinking right now? If you're back there around Hunter Smith, are you still trying to move to the front to get stage points? Are you already throwing in the towel on this first stage?
You can get to the front pretty quick. So if it's me, I always want to get up there and get the points. But a race this long, being Daytona, biggest race of the year, I want to be there at the end. So I'm gonna do what I can to be there at the end.
Yeah, and I can just speak from experience there in the truck race. In that first stage last night, I just kind of gave up on the stage, and I went to the back and rode, and we dodged a couple wrecks, and so it's just, you kind of, when you go to the back and ride, you kind of got to play the strategy right, and maybe you can short fill a pit stop later that you've topped off being at the back, and the guys up front have to take 3 or 4 more seconds of fuel, and you could pass 20 of them on pit road doing that. And we are going to take a really quick break here as we're going to work through an audio issue, and stick with us. We'll be with you on the other side of this break for the restart.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge of your seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And welcome back to Daytona, where we are working our way down the backstretch, about a half a lap from the green flag. We got Fody out front, we got Ethan Burrell, and we did have some pit stops there we didn't hit on. I'm guessing Cutlip on back has pitted back there, and Cutlip's going to restart, I guess, what, about 15th or 20th? So some fuel strategy in play already. What do you think about that, Jake? Would you want to be one of the guys that just pitted there? We know So we know we're getting a stage break, well, a stage end on that 30. But there is no caution. There's no guarantee cautions. Now we see it 90% of the time. They'll wreck coming to that stage caution or stage end anyway. So we end up getting the caution, but there is no predetermined caution for the stage.
Yeah, if I knew I was gonna have a caution, I would do something to maybe try and flip it my way. But with there not being a caution, and you don't want to lose the draft, I wouldn't.
Well, here we go. The pace car is about to be off. The field's in the hands of Tyler Fody. Green is out. A little bit of a stack up there on that outside lane. Heading down for turn number 1 once again. I'm seeing Josh Adams working his way up. He's one of the guys that chose to stay out there. I called that Josh Adams earlier in that Juicy Spider machine, missing that wreck on that inside lane, but I believe that might be Donald Kite. So Josh drives that Juicy Spider machine in the truck series. Donald Kite drives the same scheme on an Xfinity car here in this series. Ooh, 3 wide back there. And I think it was Gavin Higgins, and he might have even blinked a little bit. Pretty aggressive driving back there towards the back of this field right now. Guys that pitted trying to get some track position back. And that is Daniel Martinez, I believe, moving through the middle lane right there. They have shuffled out, I believe that to be Zach Evans in the 06, I think. It is, yeah. See, a lot of these guys are back in the same scheme, same numbers. It's a little bit tricky. We're working through it here at the start of the season as he is still on the outside of 3 wide. Outside of 4 wide now, it's 1 car's backing up on the apron. That is Tyler Pop in the 13 machine. And on iRacing, you do not get a spotter call for 4 wide. So you'll get that spotter call for 3 wide, but if you're 4 wide, you might want somebody in your ear for that. As we see this 3rd lane surging through the middle right now, and Daniel Martinez wasting no time. Anytime someone opens that middle lane up, he is in there like swimwear. It's a really tight fit right there. Talk to me a little bit, Jake, about making those moves when you're not sure if the guy's leaving you enough room and he's might try to squeeze over on you. How hard is it to make those moves and whatnot when you're in the car?
Yeah, you kind of just got to trust your instincts. You're going so fast, you just got to trust that somebody's not going to move out on you at the same time you're trying to make the move. So we got a line of 3 cars coming up on the top, led by Tate Lytle.
That is a line of Pro Edge cars right there as well. I don't know if Daniel Martinez is actually as a Pro Edge or Fueled Up member, but either way, he is a Pro Edge team car out there. They're trying to start their own line out there.
Josh and Chad went up and blocked the Tate line. We're about to have 3 wide for the lead, led by the Kicking Tires Ford Mustang.
All of a sudden, it's 3 by 3 by 3 here. That's all we needed.
Gets turned sideways. He saves it.
Yeah, this is quite hairy. And Johnny Thomas pulling out a line there. He's seen enough to say we're done with this for now. And how nerve-wracking is it to be in this 3 by 3? I find that I'd rather be on the inside or the top. Like if you're 3 by 3 and you're in the middle, it just kind of. I'm not claustrophobic, but it feels claustrophobic in there.
Yeah, I'm like you. I want to be in a spot where if something happens, I have a small chance to get out of it. Like if you're somebody like Wadsworth or Scarborough right there, right in the middle of the mess, you have nowhere to go. You just kind of gotta hope that everything goes by you if there's a wreck.
Yeah, and you see we're seeing the 05 pull out of this line. He said, it's done, it's over. And I'm also seeing the Pro Edge guys kind of backing away now and getting out of there. So I feel like they are the ones that kind of helped create the 3 by 3 by pulling out, starting that 3rd line. And then enough people got up in front of them that they decided they didn't want any part of it. And it's the whole 3rd line's. I mean, everybody's bailing. Tate Lytle is bailing completely out of this thing. Tate Lytle is not even in the shot anymore. You see Fody kind of playing both sides of the street. Ethan Stanley right there. Scott Crump leading the third lane with, well, I mean, that's his best friend right there, Chad Frankenfield. You know, Chad and Scott. Some great friends here on and off the racetrack. With Ethan Burrell there leading that center line. Just sitting 3x3. Hunter Smith, we're seeing him get up through here. Tom Bourne's back there. Jeff Green's up here in this, and Fody pulls to that middle line. Just 3x3x3. And we are just about 13, 14 laps away from the end of the stage. And, I mean, the chance is out there that none of these cars on the screen get stage points. They could all be in the garage area by the end of this first stage with how this race is gone.
Yeah, just about a half a lap ago, 43 car William White gave a heck of a shot to Stanley, sent him sideways, thought that could have been it.
And now we're seeing that third lane just completely die off once again. So now Scott, Chad, Josh Adams, they're going to have to find their way to the back.
Yep, that's all you can do. Once the line dissipates like that, you either got to hope that more cars join you from behind or pull up in front of you and hope you can make up ground that way.
Yeah, and it's totally different than what we're going to see here on Wednesday when we run the Daytona 500. As you know, Jake, when we get in these Cup cars, those guys on the outside would be passing everybody because of the way the side draft works, and you're able to, you know, the outside's, for the most part, where you want to be in the Cup car because you have so much better ways to keep your track position, whereas in this Xfinity car, in the truck, you know, the bottom seems to be really good, and then the other lanes can start working, especially that middle lane. That seems to be the move when you're trying to go forward.
Right, yeah, you can't really use your car as much in this style of racing versus the Cup car. But shout out here, Donald Kite. He's his first Grand National race. Pulled up in front of Scott Crump, and he's looking to try and go up there and take it to these boys.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't talked about the rookies in the series yet or anything like that. But Scott being a veteran, oh man, Ethan Stanley gets to the lead and pulls up, checks the inside lane. I mean, wow, Justin Wadsworth is sideways. We're wrecking. It's Wadsworth.
And then we've got
once
Holmes.
Again.
Big wreck.
Oh, Wadsworth's back up in there. Scott Crump's in there. Josh Adams, I believe, is down in there somewhere. There's Jeff Green. But I think Wadsworth is going to be okay. That car doesn't look... You know, who is that pushing on him? That's just a bad push.
On Wadsworth, it would be Isabella.
Oh, we're wrecking on the front stretch here, under caution. I don't know what's going on here on the front stretch. Something is going on. And you see, oh, Wadsworth does come up, get the 12, the 02, the 24. Josh Robin, once again, great job to Josh Robin. I don't know what's going on here on the front stretch. We'll have to figure that out after here is riding on board with Josh Robin. Oh, just a big wad here. But great job to Josh Robin. I mean, absolutely good job. I think Josh Adams is the wreck that happened on the front stretch. I think he might have been broke coming through here. Couldn't get the car to turn left, maybe. Yeah, there you see Josh in the wreck getting to the back of Daniel Martinez, who gets into the 57. Chad's down there. Hunter Smith's down there. And you just see that this car will not turn left. And so Josh goes down the front stretch, and something happens here down the front stretch. So as we work our way down the front stretch, his car doesn't look terrible. But it just... Yeah, he just can't turn the thing. It's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate start for Josh Adams and Chad Frankenfield. And Jake, I think you got something here about the tally in that situation.
Yeah, we determined there we're going to give a tally to the 82, push and offset, got the 6 really upset and spun him out, kind of caused all that.
And I am currently looking to figure out who is in the 82 machine out here. Vincent Isabella. Yeah, that was just a bad push here. And he says he wasn't pushing him, but I mean, man. Yeah, I think it just, I don't know. Like, he pushed on him a little bit there. And when he got a little bit sideways, the 82 just couldn't get out of it, or thought he was going to catch it enough to where he didn't have to get out of it. And Vince is a great pusher. He's an aggressive pusher, but he's a great pusher. I worked with Vince quite a bit last night, and the pushes were really hard, but they, I never once felt like I was out of control. So it's just an unfortunate deal there, and I'm not sure, but I know that Vince is working with the Lake Norman guys, so definitely probably not something that they wanted to have happen there was Vince wrecking the 6 off of his nose. We did have some pit stops here. I don't know if it was it wasn't everybody. Chad Frankenfield, I guess, says that he is done for the night. As I think Cutlet. Oh, Jeff Green's on the hook here. He's leaving. Cutlet pitted here, and I think he's one of the first guys that pitted. So we had this split strategy once again. We're going to be restarting here with 8 to go in the stage. Ethan Stanley out front. So all these guys that stayed out are staying out, banking on another caution here and being able to pit.
Stanley, Fody, White, Burrell have not pitted. Dustin Dewar has not pitted, and Frank Fody.
So by not pitting, you're basically saying we're going to get a caution at the end of the stage, or else you're going to be pitting pretty quick. So it's quite a risky strategy. Quite a risky strategy there to choose to not pit to this point. Here comes the pace car down pit road. Green is out. Lake Norman on the front row here. And downward kite, like you mentioned up there in 5th. You got Stanley leading. You got Ethan Burrell pushing the outside lane, along with William White up there pushing on that inside lane. Of course, Dustin Dewar is up there right now as well. And the 24 was asking for an EOL as he is in the middle of the pack. Not sure. I don't understand asking for an EOL when you didn't even pit. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, if you don't want to be up there, just pit. But the green is out. We are running here through 3 and 4. Big pushes on the top lane right now. Big push there coming from Burrell to Fody. Gets Fody out there. And Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell against Ethan Stanley. William White, the push on the inside there got Stanley just a little bit sideways. Big pushes here. These guys know stage points are coming. Look at, there's Gerald Campbell trying to shoot up the middle right there. David Tooker up on that top lane. 6 to go to stage points. It's about time to see that third lane come to fruition here and see who can make something happen here coming to the end of the stage with just 6 laps to go, and the business is going to pick up here for these next 5 or 6 laps with guys. You're going to see moves right now that guys are going to try for the end of the race. They're going to see what happens here when they do something that they might want to try, something that they want to test out. And well, I would be on the side of caution to try something, and if it starts to go bad, maybe not stick with it. Some of these guys might make a move, and if it starts to go bad, they're just going to send it. I don't think it's not worth wrecking your race car coming to a stage in. But everybody has a different kind of mentality about that situation. And here comes that third lane. It's the 51 and the 5, and they're coming up on a lapper here. And they are 3 wide back here in the pack. And the 51 blinked out there. The 51's having some stability issues here with his connection right now. As they work around Justin Wadsworth there on that bottom side. And he's hoping to blend in. His car doesn't look terrible, so I think he should be able to blend in with this field. Oh, William White pulls up in front of Fody. Gets the shove, and back in the field, Tom Bourne seen that happening. Pulled up to the outside with a ton of momentum. Does he have help? Frank acted like he was going to go with him. Frank ducked back to the middle. Now back to the top lane. Frank can't decide what lane he exactly wants to be in right here. Ultimately, it looks like he's going to go to the middle. As Tom Bourne's on the outside of 3 wide with no help. He's hoping somebody wants to go up here and try to win this stage. It looks like his help might be in the form of Cutlet. No. The 05 pulls out. Cutlet pulls back to the middle. Cutlet back to the top. We've got a third lane coming together here. Coming to 3 laps left here in the stage. It is time to make it happen. These guys up here might be hot at this point. Who is going to pull out in front of them? Will it be Tyler Fody that pulls out to this third lane? He pokes out like he's gonna. Then he pokes back in. Very indecisive. He wants to feel it out. I see Donald Kite there getting a little bit antsy, hoping to get clear to pull up and try to take this lead. This is his moment here, Donald, if he wants to pull up and lead that middle lane. I think if you're going to pull out and lead a lane, right now is the time.
He needs to be confident about it. He almost got himself stuck in the middle of trying to decide the bottom and the middle.
And he missed his chance. William White's going to take that shove to the lead. They work down here through 3 and 4, coming to 2 laps to go in the stage right here. 2 laps left. We're 3 by 3 by 3. That outside lane's only got 4 cars in it. Fody might regret pulling out to that third lane. We'll see if Tom Bourne can give him the big shove here. Tom's a good pusher as well. But I think that middle lane right now, they've got the best pusher. They got the coolest motor there with Ethan Burrell. William White gets clear. What lane does he want to be in? He gets his pick of the litter. And he's going to choose to stay in the middle. I don't think Ethan Burrell's going to like that too much because he might be starting to get warm. Matthew Weeks said, I'm not going to get stage points, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. He knows 5th row, 3 by 3. The only thing he's going to do by sitting there is getting involved in a wreck if it happens coming to the end of this stage.
Yeah, looking right here, if you're not in the first 4 or 5 rows right here, you're not going to break through a 3 by 3 wall, so you kind of just got to decide if the rest of your race is more important than trying to break through that wall. And Matthew decided that his finish was more important than trying to get a point or 2.
And we are in the last lap of the stage. Who's going to have the shove here? I haven't seen Donald push very hard on Ethan Stanley yet. Has he been saving something up here to push here down off of 2? He's going to have a big run to Stanley's bumper. Here we go, down the back straightaway. Big pushes on the bottom.
The bottom and the top have about equal run going right now.
And you see Donald gave Stanley that big push to get him out there all the way in front. Is Stanley all the way out there now? Here they come down to
Here
complete
comes
stage
William
number
White
1.
back.
Oh, Vincent with the
Got a
push.
couple cars in the grass. We've got a
We
red.
got the 66 around. Stanley's going to win the stage. No and caution. I think that was Vincent Isabella again with a bad push. And the stage points will read as follows: Ethan Stanley, William White, Donald Kite, Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Dustin Dewar, Tom Bourne, Vincent Isabella, Ty McIntosh, and Seth Rawls will end up with stage points. I believe we're looking at the caution previous to this one right here. There's Wadsworth in the 0-2. There's the 8 getting stopped. This is a caution from a couple cautions ago. All right, here we go. See, I think this starts up there. Does this start with Daniel Martinez or Vincent Isabella?
Yeah, Donald gets checked up behind the 91, and then it kind of just sends everybody back through the field.
Yeah, Vince lifts. The 88 lifts. The 90 gets into him. Turns them both to the grass. Everybody's checking up. Corey Abbott's trying to make a maneuver there. Gets into the 66. Just misses Frank Fody. Now the 66 is going to start to spin with the 54. You see the 51 right there. The 21's right there. So the 66 spins. Ooh, took her into the 54. And Tooker's going to drive into the 54 again. Oh, man, all three of them just kind of hanging together. There you see Carlos sneaking through. Justin Wadsworth getting all the way down here underneath this, it looks like. Very lucky that that wreck wasn't bigger and with more cars than what we ended up with right there. Well, we just had a little precursor to what we're going to see at lap 120. What did you guys think about it as we have pit stops right here? And were there any tallies there, Jake?
Yeah, I'm the initial incident here with the Donald and Vincent. That's just a checkup and accordion, kind of like the first crash. So I think I'm going to say racing incident on that, but I believe I'm going to have a tally coming down to the 21. He went all the way from the wall behind that crash and came down 3 lanes and turned the 66 into the crash. So I believe I'm going to put a tally on the 21.
Well, there you heard it.
Damage to the 66.
Straight from Jacob Adams, and I think while we get ready to restart here after these guys have just made their pit stops, we're going to get in another commercial break, so stick with us. On the other side of the break, we'll start Stage 2 live from Daytona.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year. 3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. iRace or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to Daytona for the DesignPing 300. We are wrapping up our caution here right at the end of stage number 1. Our leader has picked the top lane there, and Ty McIntosh. We had some different pitch strategy here, and we're seeing some different guys out front. Tyler Fode's back there, just outside the top 5, along with Ethan Burrell, Ethan Stanley. All those guys had to take on just a little bit more fuel. So we will see how this shakes out here as stage 2 will run all the way to lap 60, where once again there are no cautions at the end of stages, but these guys always seem to give us one, so we'll see what happens here on this. It's going to be about 26 laps here to the end of stage number 2. So Jake, after the first 35 laps here, do you think we will see a green flag pit stop tonight in this race?
So far it's not seeming so, but I mean, we've had one big crash, and then that one was kind of, just another stack up gone wrong. I would expect that everybody kind of tries to, settle down now and just get to the end. But we've got first race jitters, and we may see it just be a crash them up the rest of the race, and never know.
Yeah, and we started, I think, 46 cars tonight, 45 cars, something like that, as the green is out. So I think one more big wreck, we might get a green flag run. And who knows, maybe this is going to be the run that the green flag run happens on. It's Cutlet pushing all over the back of Crump here. There was a little bit of teammates working together there with the 05 and the 25 to get lined up here on the bottom side and try to control this lane. And Cutlet pushing Scott Crump here. Big momentum through 3 and 4. They come off of turn 4. These cars now getting up to full song. With Ty right there at the front. Big push there from his teammate. Jake Knorr's now found his way up there. And now they're separated on the top, but they are separated on the bottom too. Jay's going to have to get a little closer right now. You look at those first 6 guys, 7 guys. I mean, that top side, I really like the drivers that are in there right now. That's some really good drivers, some really good drafters, and some really smart pushers. Right now, Ty sits out front all by himself. He will have a decision to make here pretty quick, I believe, on if he wants to stay down here with his teammate and concede that top side, maybe going by them. Or does he choose to pull up, try to let this teammate get cool for a lap, and then pull back to the bottom and keep control of this race? It's always a tough decision to make as a driver when you're the leader, is not wanting to make any moves, but wanting to keep that track position as the 51 pulls up.
That's why I like, if I'm racing like an official race or whatever at Daytona or Talladega, and I don't have any friends in the race, I don't like to try and make deals with anybody, because I don't like to try and race for somebody else. It's right here. It looks like he's just being loyal to his teammate for now. But how long does that last? If this was within 5 laps to go, would he have left his teammate at the end?
Yeah, that's one thing. Like you said, it's hard, racing for somebody else, but you understand that when you're teammates with somebody or good friends with somebody, that you're going to help each other out and try to put one of you out front, or try, you know what I mean? So even if somebody has to fall on the sword a little bit right here, there's a lot of time left to get it back. Whereas if, like you said, if it's an official session or somebody that you don't know or you don't trust, or like Donald Kite out here, these guys don't know what he's going to do. They don't know what he's thinking. They don't know what, his aggression level is out here. So they might be more hesitant to work with him than, like we're seeing Cutlip and Crump work really well together. Would Cutlip still be pushing that lead car if it was Donald Kite, or would he be trying to shuffle them out? Because I know that's something that I think about, and I did it a couple times last night where I hung out the leader of the line or the guy that was right in front of me because I just didn't know what that guy was going to do. Somebody gets some track position and you're like, man, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's doing. And so it's just easier to shuffle him and go with people that what they're thinking.
Right. Yeah, we've had the chance to race with Donald's the example we're using. We've had the chance to race with Donald a lot throughout the years. We know he's a really smart guy, but like we said, not anybody out here really else knows anything about him. But that Donald Kite, he's a good one to work with, and I think he showed that at the end of stage 1. He was right there. Got stage points. I believe he finished 4th in that first stage, so that counts for something.
Yeah, and you know what? Ethan Stanley marked a little spot in his book there that he's keeping in his memory log, and said Donald Kite just did a good job keeping me out front, and then pushed me to the stage win. So that's something Ethan Stanley's gonna have in his memory bank. And right now, I think Donald's sitting in a good spot. He's got a guy behind him who's also a little bit new to the series. I know Frank's been here a little bit longer and whatnot, but Frank's not a guy who's going to be looking to shuffle him out. Frank's a guy that's going to be content to ride there. You got Kyle Henshaw right there behind. Like he's got some guys who are going to be willing to let him sit there. And so, if you can sit there at this part of the pack and keep your name up there, and he keeps his name long enough up there with Tyler Fody and Tom Bourne and Cutlip, and they see that, hey, he's not doing anything erratic. He's ran up here in this lead. Like they are going to, just continue to work with him more and more and trust him more and more on the racetrack as Daniel Martinez trying to get a third lane going here, but not a lot of help back there for that 88 machine. But there's not really anybody behind him, so it's, just taking a big run, seeing how far it'll take you, and you can get back in line if you choose to, but he's staying out there. And now the line's kind of gotten tight here behind him. That is David Tooker back there, who is a teammate of his, so Tooker might be willing to get up there and push on him and try to get this third lane going. You mentioned, Jake, that these guys might want to just make some laps here, but I think right now is the point where it's kind of on David Tooker on if he wants to get a third lane created, or does he choose to sit there and maybe let Daniel in? Oh, and I believe, where is the 88? Oh, there he is. He's moved forward up there. He's doing it on his own, so these guys might be willing to get up there behind him. I'm seeing Tom Bourne right there as a great pusher. The 77. Here goes the 19. Here comes the 8 of Josh Robin. Stanley's getting a little bit. The 88's going to stay up there in that top lane. Tooker's coming.
He's got some help coming up at the top up there. There's 3 cars lined up. So we might start seeing that third lane getting back into this thing. Help's on its way.
And I think the third lane being back into it is going to greatly increase our chance of seeing another caution. Oh, and Dustin Dewar sees the light.
Going to move up.
That's a good pusher too. He can push pretty hard. Does anybody pull up in front of them? They got. Oh, there goes Tyler Fody.
It's a big aggressive block. It's like we had a little bit of contact here.
Cutlip's moving up. They're passing a lap car on the bottom as well. Cutlip's getting up there. Scott Crump's got a decision to make. Does Scott stay middle or does Scott go to that third lane?
Yeah, business is really picking up now. The pack, I don't know if the cars are a little unstable or what, but there's a lot of moving around by the cars in the middle of this pack.
I got to tell you, I don't know if there was an update in the last build about how the air moves these cars around. But when I got into the middle of a pack last night, in the middle 3 wide, it felt like just the truck was wanting to move around a lot left, right, and not that it was out of shape, loose, or tight. It just felt like the wind was just really, like if I got close to the car on the right, it would push me to the left. If I got close to the car on the left, it would try to shove me back to the right. It just, like there was a couple times that I was really taken back by the way the truck was moving around in the middle 3 wide. So I wonder if that's what they're feeling in this middle lane here tonight. Kyle Hanshaw has backed off along with Hunter Smith on back. Those guys have decided that they don't like what they're seeing. A new scheme for Kyle Hanshaw this year as well. New sponsor, I believe, Belly Up Sports on the on the car, red and white, looking great out there. It's Kyle.
So Ethan Stanley, he won stage 1. He wants to go back to the lead. He's got Jonathan Cutlip that he pulled up in front of, and now we're back dead even, 3x3.
That's right, 3x3x3, and hopefully we don't hear that awful term that we don't like hearing, which is big wreck out here, cautions out. Hopefully these guys can keep it lean, mean, and green out here.
You know, all the yellow we want to see right now is that 5 car. That's the only yellow we want to see on the track.
That is right. That bright 5 car there too. John Cutlip there pushing. Here we go. Ethan Burrell in the middle, giving a big shove there to Scott Crump. You still got the 2 teammates there on the bottom working together, doing a great job. You know, it's you might think it's a Sunday drive there when you're the first 2 cars in that bottom line there like they've been, but I'm going to tell you, Seth is working really hard to keep his car cool, to give the 05 the pushes he needs to keep the lead, while, as he pushes him a little bit sideways there. But that's that second car in line's got a lot on his plate that he's having to manage right now.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing, Ty McIntosh, he's doing a great job kind of running about a quarter of a lane up in the corners, and he's letting Seth push him down the straightaway, and then he's letting him offset a little bit in the corners to stay cool. That's why they're able to stay out there leading that lane so long.
But Scott Crump, big push there from Ethan Burrell. That third lane's starting to die a little bit, and right now Daniel Martinez is sitting there saying, man, why couldn't you all just stay where you were? I was going to pass you all by myself. And now he's trapped there, that 4th car in line. Big
now
push
does
here
Scott start thinking about leading the race on the bottom?
He does.
Yes, he does.
He drops down, gets the push on the bottom. That's going to allow Tom Bourne to come up there behind Ethan Burrell.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Tom Bourne yet, but he's now second in line in the middle, pushing Ethan Burrell to the lead.
That is correct. Here he comes. Tom's another guy that he's a great guy to work. There's a lot of guys that I think a lot of these guys can trust to be around and to work with, and Tom's one of those guys that will give you some good pushes. Oh, Tyler Fody in the wall a little bit here in the middle of 1 and 2.
Tom's got a pretty good looking Reaper Apparel Company machine. Those red flames, that actually looks kind of cool.
He's given a big push here to Ethan Burrell. Scott Crump here pulling up on this inside lane, and I'm gonna tell you what that did was allow the 37 to get pushed by a fresh motor and the 90 to get pushed by a fresh motor. And that all but killed that third lane. When the bottom lanes can push hard, the third lane, it cannot stay up here and it cannot compete. But now they're starting to get some separation in those bottom 2 lanes, so that third lane is going to make a surge once again here.
It looked like Tom Bourne kind of thought about going up and getting in front of Ethan Stanley and trying to lead this thing, but he thought better of it.
Yeah, what Tom is trying to do now, and you know this, Jake, is push the 37 clear and the 37 to get down. And then he get the push from a fresh motor, and the 37 get the, it's kind of best for both of them.
Ethan Stanley's going to be able to get all the way down in front of his teammate from the top lane.
That was a great, massive push there to put Ethan Stanley back out front.
Like Jonathan pushed him just about as the max length that he could, and Ethan was able to get clear and take it just in the right amount of time.
And now here comes Ethan Burrell with Tom Bourne with a big push now as well. That 90's going to be pushing on that 91. The 40, I think, was giving a big push to the 5 as well that last time down the backstretch. So Fody doesn't have quite the cool motor that he did have. Now does Tom pull up there? He saw what happened. Is he thinking he's too hot to be able to make anything happen here for Stanley? Or for Burrell? Does he pull up? He's going to have. This is going to be one last opportunity here to pull up in front of that 5 car, I think. Like down the front stretch.
We've got 10 to go coming to the end of stage 2, and like we saw the first time, if you're 3x3, you know you're really not going to get challenged by a whole lot of cars. So if I am somebody like a Tom, or I guess not really Scarborough because he's 5 laps down, I would want to maybe look at getting up there in front of that top line and seeing if I can't just be pushed to the end of the stage.
Yeah, I'm thinking here, if I'm Tom Bourne, I'm pulling up in front of that 5 car. Because I think you got to concede. You're not going to get Ethan Burrell out in front of Stanley.
got Donald Kite. He's getting tired of running around in the middle of the second lane. He's going to go up and try and help the advance of the top lane.
Yeah, and that top lane, it was pushing really hard, pushed forward, but how much does Fody have left here to push? How much do any of these guys? You see Scott Crump trying to get a bunch of air on the nose of his car there down the front stretch. Oh, Crump, a little bit loose right there turning into the corner. A little bit of a bobble. Matthew Weeks, we saw him bail on stage points in the first stage, and now here he is, the last car in that middle lane up there in that 3x3 action. Right in there behind Dustin Dewar. You mentioned that 77 up there really sticks out on the screen, his red and white machine. But you mentioned he's 5 laps down. And the 6-lap down rule is in effect tonight. Anybody goes over 6 laps down.
Yes, he's the closest to being parked, but you're not going to go a lap down if you lead the race. And maybe he's thinking about trying to get up there and lead the race and just hope that he's the first car and get a lap back the hard way.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for him. If he can get up here somehow and catch a caution at the right time, it would really, really help turn his race around here. And because he's not in the lucky dog spot, so he has no shot at getting the lucky dog. So he has to drive up here and make something happen for himself. And these lead lap guys might be frustrated. I haven't heard anybody complaining about him, but it could get frustrating. But he's got to run for his race here, and he knows every lap he can get back is pivotal.
Yeah, I
because
think
all it's going to take is one big wreck. 20 guys could disconnect out of nowhere, and he gained 20 points.
Yeah, typically the time where I would know people to get a little frustrated with that is if he was up there trying to lead the race and block lines and whatnot to get his lap back. But as far as he's just sitting in the middle of the pack, just trying to help the line, I don't think anybody's going to be all that upset about it.
Now, see, I'm thinking right here, if he gets clear of the 5, I think he should pull up in front of the 5. That's what I would be thinking. If I was him and I was committing to the strategy of trying to run up here, I'd be trying to get clear enough to pull into the 5, in front of the 5. As right now, we are getting some karaoke from Tate Lido out here right now. As we are 3x3 with 6 to go here in stage 2. And I believe that, here not long after the end of stage 2, if it does manage to stay green, we're not far from a set of green flag stops. I think about 35 laps or so is about how far you can run. So if we were to get to the end of this stage, they pitted on lap 35, so we're looking somewhere between 60 and 70 when these guys are going to be on pit road again, and that's about that lap 60 is about 15 laps away.
Yeah, this is starting to set up exactly like the end of stage 2. We've got 3x3. Everybody's got the points on the line. Everybody wants them.
Yeah, but only 10 guys can get them. Oh, the 88's in the wall. Oh, look at that. Donald Kite. Great job letting him catch it. That's going to kill that outside lane, but that was a great job there. That was a great job there by Donald. We've seen a lot of guys run into the back of somebody when it happens. Here comes that middle lane surge, and once again, as that outside lane lost 2 cars there by that one mistake by the 88. Now, if you're John Cutlip, what are you thinking, Jake? You thinking you want somebody to pull? Are you wanting somebody to pull up in front of you? You wanting the push from behind and leading the line?
Yeah, that's still in his position. I want people to get up and get behind the line because I still want to try and win the stage. If I'm looking at clean air in front of me, I want to win the stage right now.
But I think in the perfect world, if you're sitting there as John Cutlip, do you want the 77 to pull in front of you? Because he's not going to take the stage from you, and he'll allow you to push, let the 40 get cool, and then, maybe that's your best case scenario to win the stage. As Ethan Burrell gets clear, pulls down in front of Stanley, that's going to open up that middle lane to be able to push really hard here. Now that 77 might be 5 laps down, but Tom Bourne is saying, push me as hard as you can. I will hold on. It's an 8-second ride out here. 3 to go in the stage. Tom Bourne with a big push from the 77.
No, those two cars up in the third lane, they're not dropping back as far as I would have thought. They're trying to keep the fight going.
Ooh, the 77 turns to 61 sideways. That checks up that middle lane. Oh, they kind of separate there. We got away with one right there, fellas.
Yeah, had cars going everywhere. We had a crash that never actually materialized.
Yeah, that's like that tornado watch, right? Conditions are right, but these boys just did not quite pull the trigger. Coming to 2 to go here in the stage.
Stanley clear. Does he go up and try and block the 61 and try and sweep stage 1 and stage 2?
I think if I know Ethan Stanley, he's pulled. There he goes.
There he goes.
They got a couple lappers out here now too. One's going to pull to the apron. Does the other pull to the apron as well? Not sure what just happened there, but we just dodged something back here somewhere. Oh, here we go. These cars are going everywhere once again. They're scared by the lappers. Big pushes here. Is Crump going to get clear and be able to make a decision to try to lead a lane? He does. He pulls up in front of teammate Ethan Stanley. White flag on the stage. Lake Norman there on the outside. All Ty can do is push on the bottom. They've got a really well orchestrated push up top right now. Dustin Dewar out there trying to do it on his own. Matthew Weeks pulling up here to that third lane. He's going to need some help to make something happen, though.
Or not, do we get a third lane?
I don't think we'll get a third lane to materialize like they want.
Dustin Dewar's coming up.
Big push out front. Scott Crump takes the lead into 3, turns across the nose of the 37. What a push there from Ethan Stanley. Now can Tom Bourne give Stanley the push that he just gave to Crump? Here they come down the front stretch. Give it to Crump, Stanley, and we'll let the scoring officiate the rest of it. All right, we got Crump, Stanley, Burrell, Tom Bourne, Ty McIntosh, Seth Rawls, Jesse Racimus, Jay Connor, William White, and Dustin Dewar. Round out the top 10 there for the stage. Now everybody can take a breath, right? Calm down. Everybody gets back in line, orderly fashion. Or we're going to wreck on the backstretch. Frank Fode's heading towards the inside wall. Jay Connor's down there. The field separates. Everybody catches it. I don't think anybody spun out. Absolutely incredible job by everybody right there. Wow. How did nobody spin out right there?
Oh, we've got Crump got turned into pit road.
Oh, just a massive stack up there is going to be what happened to Frank. And wow. So I think Scott Crump. Does Scott Crump need a clear or is he okay? I don't see nothing. So here's Scott. Big push from the 37. Heads up move there by Scott. That's right, yeah. So as we run here, that's really separated the pack. And, you know, there's been some discussion over should admins throw yellows, should they not throw yellows, like what's the situation? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, all that chaos, nobody spun out. It was just a massive stack up. Everybody got straight, nobody got spun. So green's going to stay out. There's no debate about that. As Ethan Burrell currently out front. As right now this pack is separated. Scott Crump right now, though, is in that second pack. All right, so talk to us about that call you just made there, Jake. Obviously, that's a safety issue in real life. I wasn't aware that it was something that was, we did here on the sim. So talk to us about that call you just made.
Yeah, we've got the 90 got turned into pit road. Never made an attempt to slow down, so we're going to give him a drive-through.
So his car is still in one piece. He will have to serve a drive-through, but here he comes down the pit road. The race for the lead is still on Ethan Burrell, Ethan Stanley, Ty McIntosh, Tom Bourne, Jesse Racimus. All up here. Jesse Racimus, we haven't talked about him there in that 70 machine. New scheme on his car, new look here, new sponsor. Great looking car there for Jesse. I believe, what is that? Is that Milwaukee Tools? Is that what that is? It's Milwaukee something. Maybe it's just the state. Maybe the whole state is sponsoring Jesse for the season. I'm sure they've got some leftover money there in the state to be able to run Jesse as a sponsor. As they catch a lap car, and I just heard over the sim that there's about 10 laps left before we see some pit stops. Oh, we actually have some guys who stayed out. We're going to have pitters right here. We're going to have the 77, the 05, and the 25, if my intuition is correct. I can feel this pit stop coming for these three cars. What do you guys think? Can I see the future? So here we come off of turn 4. Do they have anybody else? I think this was the Cup car. 3 would be enough. In the Xfinity car, I don't think so. I think you need at least 5, 6, 7 guys here in the Xfinity car. Oh, nearly had a wreck. Tom Bourne turned sideways onto the apron here in the front stretch. Gets it saved. Everybody gets checked up. Oh, we were just talking about him. Wow. These guys are trying really hard to wreck right now. They must want to caution.
I've been busy watching a lot of stuff here the last couple of laps. I haven't really gotten a chance to really watch live. I'm just trying to get caught up on everybody getting turned sideways and.
Yeah, it's been a whole lot of chaos right now. We come down here to this pit road, or to the front stretch here. We got, where are the, okay, could we get an update on where the 05, let's see where they are. Those guys that just pitted, the 05, 25, they are not formed up well here. This is not ideal. The 77, this is sitting ducks is what this is, right, Jake? That's not what you want. That is not what you want. You wanted to get formed up, try to stay in front of the pack. I mean, now the 21's right here. So there's going to be, the 21's telling him to go around. Oh, man, lots of stacking up here. The pack is coming in a hurry. As we take a look at this pack that's led by Kyle Hanshaw there off the back of the lead draft. But just out in front of the lead draft now are these 3 teammates. And it is... That went about as poor execution-wise as it could go there, short of one of them getting a penalty. They are probably going to lose the draft on the other side of pit stops. As you see on board with Tyler Fode, they are going to be coming at these boys really quick. And like right here, Fode, it looks like it's easy driving, nothing out the windshield, but I'll tell you what, he is watching that mirror, trying to figure out where the run is coming from. Got a car pulled up on his outside there with Dustin Dewar getting a big push. And big push here down the front stretch, side by side. Tyler Fode with help from Ethan Stanley. Matthew Weeks there pushing on Dustin Dewar. And I was just sent some information about 20 minutes ago. Robert Hill Jr. is attempting his first Xfinity start in 3 years next week at Texas. So make sure you tune in to see Robert Hill's return to the Mark Rebilas Photography Series next week at Texas Motor Speedway. As Tyler Fode sits out front, Dustin Dewar, Ethan Stanley, Matthew Weeks, big pushes here, and we are within a few laps of a pit stop here. Probably 5 to 7 or so from a green flag stop. And I'm going to tell you what, these green flag stops are going to be some of the most exciting green flag stops you'll see all season because everybody's going to be pitting at the same time. You're going to try to find out who your best friends are. You're going to have to decide 2 tires, 4 tires. You're going to get a full tank of fuel here, but you're not going to be able to make it to the end from here. You're going to be about 5, 10, close to 10 laps short of making it without another stop. So you're not saving 10 laps here around Daytona. That'd be a third of a fuel tank or so right there at. So we will see pit stops here very shortly. But before we do that, we're going to see those 3 cars that I mentioned with Ty and Seth and the 77 right out in front of the leader. They are going to get swallowed up here. If the lead pack is not already getting a tow, they will be shortly. There you see them just losing time. And I mean, they got to be. This is why we talked about earlier staying out when a lot of people pit. You're trying to flip track position, but you need a caution there before you have to pit because 3 cars by themselves are not going to run what the pack can run unless you're in the Cup car. The Cup car, you need 3 or 4 cars and you're going to be able to go max speed. This Xfinity car, 20 cars are going to be faster than 5 cars every time, and right now you got 20 cars versus 3. And it's just, there's no way. As you're seeing some guys get to the bottom here, we're gonna be seeing pit stops here pretty soon.
Yeah, if I was these guys, I'd be doing what I can to get single file and just start looking for where my friends are, finding out what lap we want to come to pit road. It's a free for all. Everybody to get to the bottom. We've got 2 cars left on the outside. I believe that's Donald Kite and. Is that maybe David Tooker?
It's just Donald now. He's seeing that he doesn't have a whole lot of friends out here. His best friend wrecked out a while ago, and that's Josh Adams. And without Josh out there, he's on his own.
Yeah, speaking of Josh, we made our picks. I picked Josh. It's the 2nd race in a row I've picked him, and he's let me down. But so far, our Buckeyes aren't letting us down. We're up 14-7 for anybody on the broadcast that wants an update. OH.
Well, here they come up on the back. Scott Crump is tagged on with these guys, but unfortunately for Scott, these guys are in a bad spot, right? Because they pitted by themselves and they've been chunking time. But they're going to stay out, get back on the lead lap, and try to make something of their race. Scott's got the same fuel in his car that the 40 has in his. But it looks like the 40 slowed up this line. They're going to stay in line behind these guys and sit there. So I think that's Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley working together, trying to be a good teammate and saying, you know what? We're not going to lap you. We're not going to put you guys in a tough spot here. He knows that 40's going to have to pit with them as well.
Yeah, they don't want to lap their teammate. They want to do the best they can to keep him out front if a caution comes out and he can be the first car behind the pace car, get waved around, or the lucky dog or whatever.
You know what I'm thinking right here, Jake? If I've got 4 laps of fuel or more, I'm pulling out of this line with trying to get somebody to go with me, and I'm saying we can push hard and go all the way to the front of this line. Like, let's roll with it because and there goes Matthew Weeks. Right there, as I mentioned it, all he needs is one guy to get up there and go with him and push hard. And he will be able to go right to the front of this line. And he's got Hunter Smith coming. I mean, he's even taking his momentum by himself. All this big separation on the inside lane, they're not even trying right now. This is the time. I always like to try to move forward. When everybody else is trying to get in line on the bottom, that is the best time to move forward on the racetrack. And as his help gets there, he gets back in line. And now here comes Hunter Smith. He's going to pass all these guys by himself. Does Matthew get out there and go with him? I mean, Hunter Smith is just rolling. I mean, look at Hunter Smith here, taking this all the way up here.
Stops coming this time. We've got Tate Lytle's called out. He's pitting. We've got the 40, the 91, the 20 says he's coming.
I'm going to tell you, this is where we see Rex. We're going to have about 20 cars trying to pit this time. This is where things can really go south for some guys.
I've got about 15 cars that have announced they're pitting. Here they come. So far, so good.
Oh, Stanley misses the
Got
pit
the
cone. That's going to be a
91
black
missed
flag.
pit road.
That's going to be a black flag for Stanley. He's out there against that cone. Oh, man, that is not something you want to have happen. And that is a 40-second hold on the 91. So here comes Stanley. He's going to come out with these guys, but he is going to have to drive through the pit road here. Just unfortunate, and, you know... Oh, John Cutlip's going to do the same thing, maybe? I'm going to tell you what, if Cutlip didn't get it, I'm like, wow. Absolutely incredible on Cutlip there to make that cone. I did not think he was making that cone. Here's Jeff Ryan, or Tommy Ryan, excuse me. Here's Cutlip. He gets out here. Look at that thing. Just wow. How hard is that right there, Jake, what we've just seen these guys execute?
Yeah, you're kind of, you have your marks. If you practiced it, you have your marks, but more than likely you probably practiced that with just your teammates, with maybe just 2 or 3 other cars around. You don't really, in practice, I know I really don't practice with 20 cars coming to pit road. So sometimes maybe you just overshoot it and you miss your mark. You don't want to get run over. But there in Stanley's case, he had a bunch of teammates around him, so I don't know if he just got him a little hot or what he had going on there.
Yeah, it's just really hard, and once you're trying to make pit speed, once you start locking up the tires, the only way that they're going to stop locking up is to get off the brake. And so then you're trying to decide, do I want the speeding penalty? Do I want the cone penalty? You're trying to decide which one. It's just frustrating sometimes. It's a no-win decision is what it is. But one thing that did is it really separated the field here. As, we're looking here at this field. When it updates, right now Hunter Smith is listed as the leader, but that'll change this time by.
Yeah, I believe we're going to cycle back out Fody, the leader. Scott Crump, first car, 1 lap down, and second.
Yeah, and where's that 05-25 deal? Like, how far back are they going to be? As well as timing and scoring is going to update. So the 05-25, they're 4 seconds back. So they have lost touch with this lead draft by their pit strategy.
Yeah, if you're going to do that in pit early, you got to have a group of guys that is going to go out there and be committed to run the fastest laps possible to be able to attempt to keep up with the pack. But right here, if there's not a caution, those guys might have signed to the end of their race there.
Well, and I think they had to, right? They made the decision to stay out on the last caution when everybody else pitted for fuel. And so that was their, they couldn't have went any further.
Right, yeah, at a super speedway race like this, Daytona, Talladega, I guess now probably Atlanta, I want to have the most fuel possible in the car, just in case we do have these long green flag runs. I want to be able to pit with as many cars as possible and not have to be on pit road with 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah, now see, my philosophy is I like to pit when the pack pits, but either 1 lap later or 1 lap before with a small group. Even if I'm staying out by myself, I don't want to pit with 20 other cars on pit road because somebody always makes a mistake, and you do not want to be the one that pays a price or whatnot. So I always feel like if you run 1 lap longer, you're still probably going to stay with the lead draft, but you're not putting yourself at the mercy of somebody speeding or spinning out getting to pit road or a lot of guys trying to find their pit stalls with 20 guys out there, people stopping on pit road and making, big lane changes. And I
Right.
like to be on pit road with the little amount of cars I can.
We haven't really mentioned the 11, Matthew Weeks, much this whole race, as he just pushed Jonathan Cutlip out to the lead. He was leading the outside line after Cutlip pulled down, but now Tyler Fode wants the lead back.
Yep, Fode pushing hard here. Right now we are looking at about a 14-car lead draft, and then it's a second, almost 2 seconds to 15th, 16th, 17th, back to 20th there. So we got that 5-car pack. 77's probably in there, so somewhere between 5 and 10 cars. But then 21st on back, we're talking about Daniel Martinez, Kendall Noah players, Zach Evans, Pop, Harrison Talon, Joe Francis, Johnny Thomas, Kyle Henshaw. All those guys they're out of it without a caution. They're 15 seconds back, and they're not even a pack together. Daniel and Kendall are together. Then it's 2 seconds to Zach Evans, Pop, Harrison. I mean, and Ethan Stanley served that drive-through running around here by himself, 31 seconds back. So, this is what happens in these races, that we get these long green flag runs and you get a cycle of pit stops. It spreads the packs out, it spreads the cars down, and in my opinion, these are the kind of races I like to be involved in, is when the packs get strung out and you have those green flag stops, because I feel like green flag racing and green flag pit stops are something that takes probably the most talent out of anything out here on a super speedway track, and it kind of separates some of the people that can't execute pit road.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody kind of thinks that, hey, we're loading into Daytona. All I got to do is keep my foot to the floor and just drive straight as fast as I can. But it is, when you have these long green flag runs, it's a lot more than that. You've got to be prepared to make those green flag pit stops and not have the mistakes that an Ethan Stanley has had, because that can take you out of the race just that quick.
And there's Fode, and Fode's seeing Frank Fode out in front of him. But this pack is way more organized. There's way more pushing. I don't think, we were getting ready for a pit stop there that last time. So they were all content to sit in there behind the 90 in that group. But I don't think these guys are going to let Tyler sit there behind Frank. So I think that they're going to have to pull out here past Frank. And who is that with Frank? It's Cale Pocock, I believe, is who's right there. Big run, they pull to the top. Now these two will be able to blend in line, so they're not going to drop all the way to the back of the lead draft. These guys are going to pull back to the bottom. They're going to start getting a tug. And
I believe these are two of the guys that got slowed down when...
Oh, some trouble there on that top lane, that third lane trying to form.
It's almost like Tyler tried to fake like he was coming down and got everybody kind of stacked up there. They kind of reacted to what he was doing.
And there it is. These guys are going to get in line right there. Second and third on the bottom. They're up to speed. I'm going to tell you a guy who really just executed that well is the guy that we talked about, who was way at the back here of this lead draft just a couple laps ago, and was one of the guys that had to draft back up to this lead draft. Donald Kite used all that chaos and getting through those lappers. He's the fourth car on the inside, but the fourth car on the inside is the first car on the lead lap. On that lane.
Yeah, I was just about to mention, I was still going to bring up a guy that we had talked about earlier, and that was Donald Kite. He hit the pit stop well, and like you said, he drove through the field here, and you wouldn't think he's, first place on the inside line, but he is.
Yeah, now this lead draft's getting racy here. They're catching another lap car, and this is what we're going to see. As long as this green flag run stays green now, we're going to see these guys passing lap cars now. It's no longer a clear track. It's no longer, just worrying about the pack. Because that's Ethan Stanley, another Lake Norman car that has fallen off the lead lap. That he's going to be able to get in line, but he's by himself, so he's probably going to have to. He's going to have to be hoping to get in line there. Maybe around that 19, that 9, if this lane can pull back to the bottom and pull him quick enough.
Now, Chris, let me ask you this: how much of this do you think, with Scott Crump leading the inside line, Frank Fody is third on the inside line. Oh, but we've got a crash. We're going around. That's the 66. I believe that's Tommy Ryan, Donald Kite.
And here's a crash.
I was just about to say, how much of that is Tyler wanting to try and get those guys to stay on the lead lap if there was a caution and not have to bank on a wave by?
Yeah, and they were catching a lap car. Let's see what happens here. Everybody's kind of trying to funnel around this lap car. The slow car, they move up the racetrack. Frank pulls up. Ooh, oh, was that netcode? Oh, the 19 gets into the back of Donald, and this probably going to end Donald's night. Vincent goes spinning. As we take a look here at the caution, looking at Daytona. See Lake Lloyd there in the background, looking great. The O2 is going to get into the back of the 56/45. Oh, Gerald Campbell. Oh, going to get some good damage there. You see the 77 trying to get stopped. The O2 pulling to the inside. But I believe that wreck started with Donald Kite and some netcode, I believe. Oh yeah, looking back at it, there was quite a bit of netcode there. They moved up to the middle. The bottom lane moved up to the middle, but then there was quite a bit of netcode there. But of course, Jake is the off track, so it will be at his discretion on if he wants to give that tally. And that was perfect for Ethan Stanley. So I think what we will do here at this halfway break is we take another look at this wreck. The 26, there's the 19 getting involved, the 66, the 43. And we're seeing pit stops here because they are in the window, I believe, to make it from here. So we are going to take a quick commercial break here. And we will return on the other side of the break with the last 30 laps here from the DesignPing 300 live from Daytona.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the DesignPing 300 here at Daytona. We are getting ready for this restart here with about 30 laps to go, maybe 29 laps to go here when we get the green. I'm going to give a shout out to DesignPing, who of course is the sponsor tonight. They are a design agency that specializes in creating websites and digital content that not only looks incredible, but also enables your business to outperform all of your competitors. So we appreciate you, DesignPing, and of course Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always on the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to big wins. And of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway. They are a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois. And they are very close to the Gateway Arch. So take your vacation there when the race comes around. I believe they got a playoff race next year in the Cup Series. But it features a 1.25-mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, the Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series, a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America, and a 1/4-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Midwest Nationals event. And the Kartplex, the state-of-the-art karting facility. So we appreciate all our great sponsors. As the green flag comes out, we are at 29 to go, and now we are also joined in the booth by Nick Massey out here tonight for these last 30 laps. He was getting his popcorn out there. I saw him sitting in the stands, and I pulled him one up here and asked him to join us. Nick, what do you think of the action so far tonight from Daytona?
Yeah, joining in late here, but we got some interesting strategies developing for sure. I'm just looking at trying to catch up a little bit. These top guys, you're talking about fuel strategies. I don't know if they can make it, Chris. Dave Tucker, Jesse Racimus, Michael Hosak, Carlos Acosta, I think, did not pit right there under that yellow, and looks like they were last down pit road at lap 77. So I have to imagine they are probably going to be short on fuel.
Yeah, that's a risky pit call there from those guys. But we have seen quite a bit of yellows, but we did have that one long green flag run there where we got some green flag stops. As right now, Tucker's getting a big push from the 70, the 11's giving a big push to the 24. Couple other guys up here sneaking their way forward that we haven't talked a lot about tonight. Josh Robin, Joe Francis. All these guys right up here towards the front. And we're about to that pay window. It's about to open up here shortly. The moves are going to get way more aggressive. The racing is going to get way more crazy. We have yet to have a blowover tonight. Now, we had a handful last night in the truck race, but no blowovers yet tonight. We'll have to see how that shakes out here the rest of this race. Jay Canor is a lap down. Justin Wadsworth is 2 down. Seth Rawls, Corey Abbott, Scarborough. All these guys are multiple laps down. But one thing that happened right there is Scott Crump and Ethan Stanley back on the lead lap, back in this race, and having to work all this traffic after they got their penalties. Big push on the top. Matthew Weeks, we've seen him kind of establish himself as a guy you're going to have to beat to win this race here the last 25 or 30 laps. You see Scott Crump back there trying to work that third lane all by himself. And now he's going to get some guys. The 05, the 46 is going to pull up. That's going to pull the 83 up as well. This third lane starting to form. Oh, Kyle's in the wall. And that's gonna really hurt the third lane.
And real quick, while we got a chance here, we got a tally to announce on the 37. He was saving some fuel, downshifted to come into the restart, caused a stack up. A few cars got damaged from it, so no caution. Tally 37.
Oh, we're wrecking. Kyle Hanshaw back here. Daniel Martinez, Johnny Thomas, Jay Canor. Not a great turn 3 and 4 here on lap 95 for the belly up sports machines.
So you can take a look at what happened here. 88, Daniel Martinez trying to shoot the middle there, just gets the left rear of the 46 a little bit. 9 car, Jay Canner, just nowhere to go. See the hood popping off, flying through the air.
Yeah, just
We go on board with Jay here, and yeah, the 88 is trying to follow that middle line up the middle, but that hole just ended up not being there, closed up a little bit.
yeah, and Daniel's good at this stuff, but he's aggressive as well, and you know, maybe back there for 20th, 25th, it sometimes doesn't pay to be that aggressive, trying to move forward. They had that big stack up, and we saw Kyle hit the wall down there in 3 and 4, or in 1 and 2 the lap before. It's just unfortunate.
And I mean, the guys that are liking this right now are the guys that stayed out under that last yellow. David Tooker leading the race, trying to save fuel, make it to the end. I don't know if they're in the pit window or close to it, but see right here, Johnny Thomas gets a little piece of this wreck. Able to hang on to it though. Checking up for that wreck. 94 gets in the back of him, and Johnny able to hang on to it. Miss a spinning Kyle Henshaw. And I know those two are teammates, so they're probably not too happy right now in their team channel.
Yeah, not a great turn of events there for the Belly Up machines, but nonetheless, make sure you tune in on Wednesday night for the Belly Up Sports season kickoff from Daytona, where we will be running our Daytona 500. You'll see myself and Nick Massey out there in the field for that. So, and Johnny Thomas and Kyle Henshaw. You'll see a lot of these guys that you see out here tonight, and of course, Belly Up came on board as a sponsor here a while back, and great for the league. We give a shout out to all our sponsors, all these great people who help get this thing rolling and keep it rolling. Couldn't do it without them. But you mentioned the pit window there, Nick, and the best we can tell is it's about 35 laps. So they're trying to save 7 laps of fuel out here. That could be pretty difficult. And we kind of had the same situation last night, but we only had to save 2 or 3 laps. And that came into play. We ended up using a green-white checkered or 2 last night. So it's really easy to save fuel here under caution. It's really difficult to do if you're trying to run at the front and save it under green. And right now, you're not going to give up track position to save fuel with 24 laps to go.
Chris, you had a win that nobody saw, thanks to the PC crash.
That is correct. We got the win in the Truck Series. Great kickoff to our Speed Weeks last night. It was a lot of fun, and had Nick up here in the booth getting to interview me. So it's a heck of a lot of fun last night. Can't wait for Wednesday. Can't wait to get the season rolling in high gear and see what the rest of it brings. What we're seeing here, David Tooker is going to pick the top to put his teammate Cutlip behind him. Well, I thought. Now he's pulling to the bottom. Did he decide to bail on that? A little bit of indecision there by David Tooker on where he wanted to be. So he has chosen that bottom side. So Nick, you get to come in here at the end of this thing, and some of these cars are already out of the race. I picked Daniel Martinez to win. Jake picked Josh, who has been out of the race for about an hour and a half at this point. And Dave, who was your pick? I can't remember who you picked.
Jonathan Cutlip, yeah.
All right, so Nick, you get to come in here at 23 to go, and you make a race pick. Who do you like out here tonight to win this thing?
I like, well, I think you can't go wrong with any of the guys running the top 10 right now, but I'm going to go long shot. Well, he wasn't a long shot until 3 laps ago. I'm going to go Johnny Thomas back there, just in that wreck. I think he got it all fixed up. Johnny knows how to get it done. Past Daytona 500 winner, past winner here in the Xfinity Series at Daytona, so I think he's going to work his way up through the field in 23 laps. Maybe miss some wrecks.
Yeah, and And Johnny's a little bit fired up now. Get Johnny a little bit fired up, get him up on the wheel, trying a little bit harder. Might be all it takes.
Carlos sitting there in third, up 32 spots.
Yeah, and you got Carlos up there. And Carlos been involved in a couple wrecks. We've seen him in the, in the grass tonight. We've seen that 70 sideways to 24. There's a lot of great recoveries out here, but of course they are on that different fuel strategy where they need the cautions. They need the rash of cautions to happen here to save the fuel to get to the end. Green
Not a
flag
great
is
start
out.
for that bottom line back there. The top's all formed up.
Well, you say that, but look at Fody pushing Carlos to the lead right now. Big push there on the bottom side.
It's looking like the old-timey two-car tandem right there.
Yeah, big push to get out front. Now here comes the top lane back, but Josh Robin pulling up there. Joe Francis. Carlos has got to be sitting there with the big old grin on his face trying to run for this lead right now. But, of course, with the lead comes... You're not saving any fuel doing that, and he's one of those guys that's got to save fuel, so you almost want somebody in front of you to push, and here comes Fody pulling up to the top. That's going to leave him in the hands of Josh Robin. Can he get it done? Fody's going to get the big push from David Tooker, who's got the 70 pushing him. Tooker trying to look left and right. Oh, and they're stacking behind him. The 70, the
Big
5's involved. It's big down here in turn 1.
Everybody from fifth back, looks like.
Oh, man. Cutlip's got major damage. Joe Francis is there. I mean, we have a lot of torn up race cars back there.
Yeah, parking lot down here in turn 1 and 2, and it kind of all started at the front there when Tooker tried to shoot the middle, got Fody out of shape, and these guys kind of saw it a couple rows back or reacted to it, and that's kind of what triggered the whole wreck.
Yeah, and Dave, if we can back up a little further, I want to see the 19 weaving back and forth here on the 40, see what we got going on, because he was like looking high. Yeah, see right here. So the 19's pushing the 40, and then he decided he just was trying to make a move there. He moves up. Fody maybe moves up just a hair, but not a whole lot. And then the 19 tugs on the wheel, trying to go middle. It just never opened up. Gets into the left rear of the 40. And then that creates everything behind them. The 5 into the back of the 70. They start wrecking right here. The 70. Wow, Josh Robin's going to be, he's pretty lucky there. The 11, Matthew Weeks, the Pro Edge cars, the 11, the 56, the 5, Crump's there as well for Lake Norman, the 06, the 05. Oh, man, nothing back. Like, if we were just a little further back, I mean, after Joe, look at this. Ethan Stanley getting, I don't know if Ethan Stanley made it through or not, but he is doing a great job there. You see all these other guys stopping here, just trying to avoid that chaos. I'm telling you, I think Ethan Stanley... Oh, I see some nose damage on Ethan Stanley. I was going to say I thought he did a really good job, but he did get a little piece of it. So, yeah, I think all that starts up there with the David Tooker trying to make a move that never really opened up and got into the back of the 40, which was a great save on Tyler Fody's part. So we ride on board with KO here. Just trying to get down here to the grass. Trying to... Look at that. William White. We got Dukes of Hazzard out here. Is that Bo Duke driving that car right now? Holy smokes. Absolutely big error down there. It's being ruled a racing incident. Well, I'll let Jake talk about that as we watch William White here do his best Bo Duke impression.
In the back of the 06, but really no front end damage on that 43. Just some rear end damage popped up.
Look at him.
Whatever.
He's doing Kyle Larson right now. He's like, look, I'm Kyle Larson. We didn't catch that, though. Now he goes straight from Kyle Larson to Bo Duke down here just in a second.
Yeah, we're going to put a racing incident on that. I had the 19 make a move. I have the 40 block. The 19 kind of hooked the 40. Got everybody else stacked up.
I'm gonna tell you what. Look how high that car was off the ground. That's wild. And he's driving it. He's back to Kyle Larson. So he went from Kyle Larson to Bo Duke, and then he's back to Kyle Larson after it lands. That's incredible right there. I hope William comes back and wins this race. That'd be a fun interview after this thing. Is Carlos sitting out front right now with Fody and Tooker and Josh Robin? And unfortunately, that aggressive move from Tooker, I know it was World of Racing deal, but that took out a lot of the Pro Edge guys. And so that was a really worst case scenario kind of deal for the Pro Edge guys there.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about Lake Norman versus Pro Edge a lot, and really Fody and Tooker are the only two from those teams that were up there at the time, and it kind of affected all their teammates behind them. Scott Crump was in that for Lake Norman, so really the two team cars going at it 1-2 took out most of their teammates. That had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and we got Carlos sitting out front here with one to go for the restart. I would love to have some kind of insight as to how much fuel he's got in that tank. How much does he have to save? We by our calculations, he was probably around 7 laps short. And we've had, 2 cautions since then, plus the caution that he stayed out on, so... I think... I think there's a guy we can ask, maybe if we get another caution. Because Michael Goodman, who started this race, attempted to start this race as soon as they pulled off a pit road. He was given a bad motor tonight. That's what happened with Goody. And it didn't want to crank on pit road. Tried to get it to crank, and then she just blowed up sitting down there. So.
And I'll tell you what. Hopefully I don't jinx him, but my pick, Johnny Thomas, we talked about it for the restart, is P29. Missed that wreck. He just cracked the top 10. So
yeah, I mean, Josh Robin, Tyler pops up here, Gavin Higgins. At this point, it's, is your favorite driver in the top 10 right now? If not, wait 5 laps or 2 cautions, and it'll change. And I believe 35th on back are done. Jay Canor, Seth Rawls, Hunter Smith, Leighton Norgard, all these guys have pretty bad damage, and they've loaded up. Green flag comes out. Big start for the bottom side. Big start for Carlos, but not for the whole line. That's not necessarily ideal, but he's going to have a big push here from David Tooker. Now, Jake, Nick, if you guys could give Carlos any pointers, what would it be right now for the rest of this race?
He's got to be comfortable looking in his mirror. It's coming down. We've got 16 laps to go. He's leading the race. He's got to be willing to work both lanes here.
Now, see, I was thinking, if I was Carlos, I would just stay on that yellow line and see what happens. I don't think, because I think a top 5 would be great, and a win would be awesome. Maybe if it was 10 laps later, start thinking about what you need to do to win. But right now, I just stay on that bottom side. And I still stand on the theory that if somebody gets in front of him and pulls down, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because he needs to save the fuel. Because out of those guys that stayed out, he's the only one left up here now, I believe, correct? Like, none of those other guys that stayed out have the track position still.
I believe him and Tooker are the only two. Tooker stayed out as well.
So there it is, yeah. So I would just try to stay on that bottom side, and Tooker's a smart guy. We saw what kind of position he put Fody in, but Fody's a guy that you're comfortable putting in that position. I think he understands that Carlos, isn't a worse driver, but Carlos hasn't ran up here, and, he's trying to, fill it out, and he's not going to put Carlos in that kind of spot where it might wreck the field.
Yeah, since Carlos is up here leading the race now, I feel like we should mention he was looking to sell some real estate on his car, and he's got our ERN logo back there behind his wheels.
Yeah, and here comes Fody with Josh Robin, giving him a big push there. Number 8 car, Dale Jr. throwback on a Ford somewhere. Right now, Earnhardt fans everywhere are just losing their minds as we're going 3 by 3. Here comes Kyle Hanshaw with the big push to Vincent Isabella, trying to get that third lane working. Big push out front here from David Tooker. Fody getting a big push from Josh Robin. Nick, you mentioned Johnny Thomas. He's like the fourth car in the top lane, and I don't know if that's ideal spot.
And does Carlos have any teammates up here? Because I know you were talking about it, but I think he's kind of at a big disadvantage here. You know, we got Fody and Tooker and some of these guys who are familiar with the front, and they might not be so willing to ride behind Carlos. And
well, the good thing is if he holds that yellow line, he's going to have help to the end. So that's all he can do is just sit there, hold that yellow line. Gavin Higgins going to push the far out of him. The 40 and the 19 back hooked up. Tooker tried to pull out, take the lead. So
yeah, and I'm hoping they're good to go on gas because Carlos Tooker are the two cars that have been leading this race since the last couple cautions. So they are the two that's been using the most fuel.
it's going to be exciting. I'm going to tell you that if they run out of gas.
Yeah, right in front of the field. That'll be interesting.
As Vincent's getting a big push.
Yeah, trying to make that top work. William White, you mentioned it, Chris. There he is, third on the top.
That's right. He's digging up there. He knocked off all that loose stuff on the car when he got that air. He shedded some weight down there. As you see, 3x3. Who would have thought we'd have been sitting here at this point in the race? Still pushing like this? Unbelievable. Watching them come down the backstretch, and you see all the weaving and all the lane changes, the pushes, and
I believe it was 2 cautions ago. We were talking about the 46 that Kyle Hanshaw turned around on the back straightaway. He's the first one up there pushing the top lane.
yeah. And now, as you guys know, once this thing gets 3x3 like this, you can't go anywhere. You're just sitting like you look at Scott Crump wanting to move forward, but you're not really going anywhere. You're just hoping that some way, somehow, you get a shot of momentum in your lane.
Oh, no.
Oh,
And we're
and
wrecking.
Hanshaw's wrecked here. Big wreck. Scott Crump's going to be involved.
And it looked like that all started in that top lane with the 46 trying to push to 82 or something, didn't line up square or something. Got out of shape up there.
Yeah, the 46, just a little put. Wow, Tyler Fody very lucky. Josh Robin moves down. White's into the back. Ethan Stanley's going to be involved in this one again. Tyler Pop, William White, Scott Crump. Tom Bourne's going to get a piece of it. The 66. Donald Kite, Dustin Dewar. Ethan Burrell going through the grass. So a whole lot of chaos and calamity right here. There's Dustin Dewar. He's down there sliding in the dirt. Johnny Thomas, I think, does a great job getting checked up for this wreck. As we ride on board with Dewar, you see the wreck. Cars start bouncing off each other. You're trying to get left, get into Tom. Dusty's going to be okay, I think. So I think what we will do is we're going to bring up somebody who might know about the fuel situation here with Carlos and Tooker in turn. So we got Michael Goodman joining us here in the booth. Goody, you got us up down there?
I do.
Well, before I ask you about anything else, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
You know, what happened at the start of the race? Did you just get the sick motor here this week, or what?
I did. The Do Good R&D department was testing a tinfoil engine block, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
Very unfortunate for you, but I'm sure you became like a great spotter, a great crew chief here. You got Carlos out front, well, second. But we know they stayed out. What's the fuel situation there for him and, I guess, in turn Tooker? Him and Tooker both stayed out.
I think Carlos is pretty good. He's green-white checkers might be a little bit different story. I haven't been kept up to date totally on Carlos beyond just making it to the end. But I do know that 32 car, the JD's Hilltop Salvage Chevrolet, is looking good. He's
Well,
about
he
to
was
get
just
fixed
down
up.
there going through the dirt, you know.
Hey, he's fine. He little minor damage. He'll be letting her eat here in a few moments.
Yeah, and talk to us about just what you've seen down there on pit road, the craziness that has happened tonight. We've seen some great racing, some big wrecks, and even a set of green flag pit stops in there.
Yeah, we've seen just about everything. Someone blowing up before we take the green flag. We've seen it all, but yeah, I feel like I maybe saved myself from a lot of chaos here. It's wild. These cars. I don't know what with the new update or what, but you can hardly push these guys. So even if there's a smaller pack of cars, there's going to be a potential for wrecks as we've seen tonight. But now we're getting down to crunch time, 10 to go. It's I think it's going to be wild.
I think I agree with you on the wild part there. So real quick before we let you jump back down there, and you know what, we got time. I'm gonna ask you what has your role become now that you had your incident there before we even took the green. You know, a lot of guys might have left and just said I'm done with this, but you stuck around. And so what have you taken on here as your role for tonight's race?
Just trying to get that 32 home clean, home safe. He's the only other do-good car in the field right now, so we're trying to get him home in one piece and hopefully in victory lane.
All right, and got some great looking new paint schemes out here tonight. Some new drivers and some new places and whatnot. So talk to us about who helps you guys get on the racetrack and any shout out you want to give tonight.
Oh hell yeah! Of course, always Mrs. Goodies. Sorry, Mama, I blew up your car before we could take the green flag, but I'll bring a better piece next week. And of course, JD's Hilltop Salvage. Hopefully, JD's still up watching. I know he had a hard day's work today out in the cold. That's pretty wild, but hopefully he's watching, and hopefully his son will make him proud here in a few moments.
Well, all right, and tonight just goes to prove to you, Goody, that sometimes it's better to spend that extra money and get the right parts and the best parts than it is to try to cost save there with some nickels and dimes.
I think it was the old Pure Later slogan, pay a little more now or pay a lot later, and I'm paying a lot for it right now.
Well, all right, man, we will let you jump back down there, and good luck to do good and everybody down there in your guys' channel.
All right, thank you. Have fun. Watch this. It should be wild.
All right, that was Michael Goodman coming up here, still in good spirits, having a good time, even though his night might not have went quite the way he was envisioning. I can't remember a time where we had somebody blow up here, you know, before we even really left pit road.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and take a look at that because I missed that. I missed the start of the race. He blew up on pit road, huh? Ah, yeah. Those tinfoil engines, good he was talking about, not the way to go. Have to go a different material.
That's right, and we got Tooker picking the top. The 40 is going to be pushing Carlos here. Should be interesting. Green flag is out. Big jump on that top side.
Carlos, not a great start on the bottom there.
But it's going to work out because I think he's going to get a push. Well, the 20's clear. They're all going to be clear to the bottom. They're going to let the 20 drive back to the inside of the... Oh, the 19 pulls down to block Carlos to get that push. I think if I was Carlos, this is where a decision's got to be made. I think your best bet's to stay in line.
Oh,
Do not get put in that sucker hole. Tyler Fody just took care of him right there. Tyler could have made that move, and Tyler said, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it looks like Carlos might have second guessed. He kind of wanted to pull the top, second guessed it, and hey, you're right, Fody. I think did come a little bit, a huge break there, not getting him out of line or turning him.
Yeah, and here we go with the bottom side getting a big push again. 7 to go this time.
And one thing I'm noticing is that 20 has a lot of rear end damage that might be affecting that top groove. We'll see if these guys, you know, they might have to shuffle them if they want to have a shot here to get that top line back.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, I think that if Fody gets clear, he's going to pull up. He's confident enough in his ability. And here we go. He pulls up. Tooker pulls up to block the 40. Now Vincent Isabella giving a big push to Carlos. That, I think, was a good... Carlos doesn't have his help right now. He needs his help to get back to him.
Yeah, and
the top lane's moving up further and further right now.
And Vincent down there, you worked with him well last night. You ended up winning the race. Vincent, finished second or third behind you, so you know how good of a pusher Vincent
Oh,
can
and
be.
Fody dives back. What a move from Fody this lap to pull up to the top, get the push, pull back to the bottom, get in front of Carlos. And now Carlos giving Fody the big push out front here with 6 to go. Tyler, Fody, Carlos moving up the track just a little bit, and that's something that you don't think about is how hard these top lanes got to pinch. And Carlos is saying, I'm taking the lane and a half here, so you're gonna have to give that to me.
Yeah, it looked like Carlos wanted to move up off of 2, but just wasn't quite clear the 19.
As we come to 5 to go here. The line's double wide here.
Yeah,
we'll see how this shakes out.
And we'll see who the first one to maybe create a third lane is going to be here, because these pushers that are running, Carlos Acosta and Gavin Higgins, they're 2 laps, 3 laps in, running second. So those cars are getting hot. They're not going to be able to push as hard. That's going to create an opportunity. There
Well,
you
here
go.
we go. The 66. The 88's going to move out. I got to think Gavin's got to move out. He's an aggressive driver trying to win, and I think Josh Robin will move out if he gets clear, but I don't think Josh Robin's going to get clear. Heading down here for turn 3, and here comes that third lane. I'll be surprised if Gavin doesn't pull out in front of this lane. I think you got to pull out and lead a lane if you can, given that opportunity. He's not going to do it. 88's getting a big shove. Oh, big shove sideways there. 4 laps left here. Fody out front. Tooker there leading the center lane. One thing we can't forget about either, the fuel concerns on the 02 and the 19. Have they saved enough? Do they have enough? If we get a green-white checkered, how much trouble will they be in? Big pushes here. Cutlips in the wall just a little bit. Not a big push there on the bottom side. Carlos not to the back of Fody. He does get there. Turns him sideways. We got a blanker there in the middle lane.
Ooh, yeah. Right in the middle of the pack.
Oh, and that's going to allow the 19 to pull down in front of the 02.
Looks
And
like that
Fody's going to pull out immediately. Back to the bottom again. 3 laps to go. Racing hard up here at the front.
Ooh, hard push.
Hard push, but a successful push that got the 40 way up out there. Here we go. 3 wide. The 40's clear. Does he choose to block in that top? Does he get in front of that 19, you think? I think you got to consider it. He does not. He stays loyal to the bottom side. We'll be looking at 2 to go when they get back here to the stripe. Vincent's giving us some big pushes there to the 02. The 19's going to get clear once again.
Yeah, we'll see if he drops here. There he goes.
Oh, the 66, I think. I'm seeing steam out that car right now. I think he's running a little bit warm. The 19 pulls back to the middle, playing both sides of the street. Carlos just not able to give a big push here to the 40 that he needs. That inside lane is just not well formed up right now. They got to push tighter. It's go time. That pay window is going to be opening up. Just 2 laps left here. I think you got to push if you got it. Heading down the back stretch here right now. 3 by 3. There we go. Big push in that bottom lane. Good successful push. That's the best they've been formed up into 3 in a while. The O2's pushing him hard. Oh, the 66 blew up. Caution is out.
Oh, big wreck.
Big junk here.
Yeah, the 66 was pushing the 88 trying to make that top work, and it's a little too much.
Yep. That's going to bring us a caution here.
See him there, second car over on the outside. And there it goes. Just nothing these guys could do behind him.
Tom Bourne.
Frank Fody, Cutlip in the wall. Maybe gets it slowed down in time here. Dustin Dewar. Tyler Pop.
Yeah, and you see Dustin, like you mentioned, Justin Wadsworth, the 94. And now, Now we got fuel concerns on the 19 and the 02 in a big way. How many green-white checkers are they good for? How is this going to play out?
Because the end of this lap is going to be technically the end of the regular length of the race. So anything past this finish line here is extra. They're going to have to run.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
See,
See
Cutlass
how
kind of
this
puts
shakes
it on the
out.
wall here and is able to get it slowed down.
So we got Tyler Fody out front. The 02 and 19 are up there. I mean, it's just... You got Daniel Martinez up here now. That's a Pro Edge driver as well to help the 19. Vincent Isabella. I just talked to the 60 or to the 19 team. They're good for this green white checkered, they believe. So we'll have to see if we get into multiple green white checkers, what it looks like. We have had a lot of cautions, so it's going to be an interesting race to watch how this all plays out. And I believe we have lost Jake to the Ohio State football game. I do not have a score update on that game. 28-7. There you heard. So Ohio State taking it to Notre Dame right now. I think we're going to see one to go here. So, Nick, I want to put you out here lined up on this restart behind the 02 or the 19. Like, are you cognizant right now of what their fuel situation is? And, is that going to lead to you maybe working with somebody else over them just because you don't want somebody running out of fuel in your lap?
Yeah, I think it definitely in the back of your mind, but I think, you kind of got to work with what you got. You can't, if they're your only option, you got to push them, do what you can. I think, I think Fody is definitely aware because he's been up here all night running with them. I think some of these guys that are just showing up in the top 10 for the first time might not be aware of their fuel situation.
Yeah, and speaking of the top 10 right now on this first green white checkered, so all 10 of them could change. We got Fody, Carlos, Daniel Martinez, David Tooker, Vincent Isabella, Gavin Higgins, Josh Robin, Cale Pocock, Harrison Talon, and Johnny Thomas. We are setting up for a spectacular finish here from Daytona. Our season opener here for the Mark Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. So we will have to see. And, we really don't root for guys up here. We have our teammates, but we got to stay, stay even for everybody here and whatnot, and try not to have a driver we're pulling for. But I think I speak for the whole booth when I say if Carlos can somehow pull this off,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be a pretty huge moment.
He's got our logo on it. I got to root for him. I gave him the logo at 4 o'clock. Paint's fresh on that baby.
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty popular win if Carlos is able to pull it off. It does a lot for us here at ERN. Great guy to work with, so I think I don't think there'd be many unhappy people if Carlos was able to put that 0-2 in victory lane.
It is right. He's going to restart on the bottom. We saw him not get a great restart last time. Hopefully he's a little bit better prepared. Tooker's going to be ready to go. Ready to go and give him a big old shot here. Green flag is out. Big push here on the bottom, not so much the top.
And kind of
Fode's going to
interesting
pull
that Fody
down.
took the top too.
Yeah, and there's no help up there right now for Daniel Martinez, but I have to think David Tooker is going to pull out in front of Daniel Martinez. 100%.
Yeah, I think that top line's got to get more formed up though. Johnny Thomas is able to get there. Now they're formed up, so we'll see who's going to pull up in front of Daniel Martinez.
I think it's going to be David Tooker. Yeah, 100% David Tooker. Now does Fode decide to block? Is the next question. I believe there is an issue in the back right now as we come to get the white flag.
White flag is out. Race is official. We'll see if the 19 and the 02 have enough gas.
Big push from Carlos here on the bottom side to Fode, but they're going to have a big push up top. Fode's going to have a decision to make right here. I think he's got to block him.
Oh, and Gavin Higgins pulls up. That's going to hurt.
Big push
Carlos.
there on the bottom. They're 3 wide, heading for 3, 4 wide. They get together. And David Tooker with a big push here from Daniel Martinez. They come off of turn number 4. Martinez pulls to the outside of Tooker. Going to use that side draft. Daniel Martinez, David Tooker, Carlos Acosta, first, second, and third. Barring any penalties, we'll have to take a look if Carlos maybe made that move under the line on the backstretch. All for sure. I think Carlos is going to get DQ'd from third, boys. And I'm hearing race control give that penalty to Carlos. So that will move Vincent Isabella and Ethan Burrell there. Just unfortunate there for Carlos to move to the inside of that line.
Is able to make the pit call and stay up front, but unfortunately he's going to be scored at the tail end of the lead lap here. Daniel Martinez gets the first win in the first race of the 2025 season. But man, what a finish.
Carlos,
it seemed like that top line just kind of wasn't able to get anything going there on that last green-white checker start. All the runs kind of died out. All the cars, that nobody was really well formed up.
Yeah, Carlos isn't happy with the penalty, but I mean, I don't know if we can go back and look at that replay or not. But he clearly just turned below the yellow line to pull out on the 40, and just, I mean, you can't go down there unless you're forced down there. But nonetheless, I think we will take a commercial break, and on the other side of the break, we'll have interviews with our winner, Daniel Martinez, David Tooker, and Vincent Isabella.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge of your seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And welcome back to Daytona, where the DesignPing 300 just waved the checker flag over Daniel Martinez, and I believe Nick is standing by with our third place finisher, Vincent Isabella. Nick, take it away.
And Vince, 24 hours talking to you again, bud. Just coming up just short again. P3. What'd you get? P2 last night. So 2 great runs back to back. How'd the race go? What'd you need to get the job done there at the end?
I was in that wreck there in 4. I just kind of tried to keep it straight and get through there, but we were hit on every corner, so I was just happy to be in that spot in the first place.
Yeah, it looked pretty crazy. A lot like the truck race last night. A lot of 3-wide action. Kind of a good green flag right in the middle with pit stops. Kind of just coming down to the end of it. I mean, how'd you end up working your way back through the field? And it looked like it was pretty tough to get your way through the field, like the trucks last night.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot harder to pass tonight. I don't know what could have been done different. I was 30th, and when they all piled up in 1 and 2, and I went around everybody, I went from 30th to 8th. So I got lucky to be up there when they all wadded up. So, yeah.
Well, alrighty, Vince, before we let you hop out of here, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night in the Daytona 500. But any shout-outs? No, you're not going to be there?
Nope.
I wasn't sure if you're full-time or not.
I'm not running Cup at all. Yeah, and it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Today is Monday. Today is indeed Monday.
Yes.
But before we let you go, any sponsors or shout-outs you want to shout out?
Yeah, definitely. Traders Brewing Company. They've been on all my cars for the past 2 years. Batflip Podcast. Definitely go check them out if you're interested in baseball. I mean, they cover everything that there is to know about baseball. Bite Size Sports. They're on the car. And shout out to Ray Bracey for making this beautiful car. Carbon copy of the NASCAR wheel and modified tour car that I work on, throughout the summer. So big shout out to him. And, Josh Robin, teammate, Zach. It was a good, strong showing from South Shore there. So, yeah, on to next week, wherever we are.
Well, alrighty, Vince. Yeah, great start to the season for you. We'll see you next week at Texas, I believe it is.
New or old?
That I don't know.
Oh,
Which one would you prefer?
I would prefer old, but because I've won there, the old Texas. So we'll see.
Well, alrighty, Vince. Great run, man. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
It was literally just like a net code thing, literally. I don't even know how else to explain it.
Well, alrighty, now we're here with David Tooker, second place, explaining some netcode issues.
He's answering questions before they're even asked.
I didn't realize I got pulled. Sorry, guys. I didn't hear the sound. Hey,
Well, David, solid run, man. We were talking about it towards the end of the race. Yeah, what made you make that pit call towards the end? Was it kind of just tough to work your way up through the field, and were you worried about running out of gas?
It was kind of a mixture of things. I mean, yeah, definitely fuel-wise. I mean, every caution I was shutting it off and coasting every chance I could. And honestly, that call was kind of on accident. I was kind of bored under caution. I was just scrolling my phone because I was caught up on the field, and I realized that pits were open and I passed pit entry. So I was like, well, I'm up front and I'm gonna keep the track position. And also just like, yeah, it was extremely hard to pass. I mean, the third line could work, but if you had at least 2 or 3 strong cars, either the bottom or the middle line, you weren't gonna get through. So it was kind of just a bottom and middle race all night long. It really didn't feel like there was much room other than that. Like, I mean, third lane would work, yeah, if you could get 4 or 5 cars, but these cars, it's just a stalemate every time you get locked onto the bumpers. So a little bit different, kind of makes the racing a little bit harder when you go back to the cup car. But no, I just found myself in a good spot also with having Daniel Martinez, a co-teammate, right behind me. I knew if I could just get him behind me, we would just lock together and whatever happens from there. And he did a great job staying dedicated to me, because if it wasn't for him, I would have been dropping all the way back those last 2 laps, especially coming to the checkered. So knowing that he would push me right there in that situation means a lot. And also just everybody in the field. I mean, we were working together well as teammates, especially Jesse. Like, he's been a great addition to our team so far, and getting to work with him has been awesome. So really enjoying the season, and really glad I could get a podium for Pro Edge.
Yeah, definitely a lot of shuffling going on over there at Pro Edge, but great start for you guys and for you. Kind of, what do you expect next week at Texas? I don't know, new or old. I didn't look that far into the schedule, but one of the Texas we're going to.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. As far as mile and a half wise, I think I still need to do some work. Like I was saying to the guys over in the waiting room, is just getting into this race. I realized how rusty I was on the sim. It's been at least 2 months, 3 months since I've been really taking it serious. I've been kind of just off of it for a while, really taking advantage of the break, I guess you could say. And showed up here and didn't really know what I was doing. I had to warm up a lot, but warmed up when it came in clutch there. So other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to Texas. It's one of my better tracks at mile and a halfs, and I feel like my stats definitely prove that. So looking forward to it, and hopefully we can get a win. If not, a top 5 for sure.
Yeah, it took a little bit of a break, but back like you never missed a beat, getting solid finish. And any shout outs or thanks you want to give before you let you hop out of here?
Yeah, like I said, all of Pro Edge Racing. Some new additions to the team as well with Jesse. I'm glad we brought him on board. He's been doing really well over in the Xfinity and Cup side, and has been improving every year. So very happy to bring him on for us. Is also JD Designs, who paints my cars. Love this car. As we all know, we saw this car running in the Xfinity series, and I just had to have it. I love the matte black with the red. So beautiful car. Like I said, everybody at Pro Edge, and all you guys up in the booth, really appreciate what you're doing up here. All our sponsors, Mark Rebilas Photography, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Blue Egg. Let's see, I'm forgetting one. Sorry, 4D Racewear. Everybody that sponsors this league, they do a great job in supporting us for the past 4 or 5 years now. So it's been a great experience. But also, you guys up in the booth, what you're doing here is awesome. So really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, David. Appreciate it. We'll let you hop out of here, and we'll see you next week in Texas.
Alrighty, thank you.
Alrighty, I am standing down here with race winner, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit. Daniel Martinez, my pick here pre-race to win tonight. Daniel, talk to us about your night. It was up and down, and we saw a lot of big wrecks, a lot of 3x3 style racing tonight. So, how did you manage to find yourself at the front when it counted?
Yeah, thank you. It was a bit of a challenge all race really. This package, it's so hard to really make things happen if you're not in the first, few rows. So, and then I got caught up in a couple wrecks, but was just lucky enough not to get any major damage. Just kept repairing it, and then, when that really big wreck happened, I was lucky enough to miss it, and it just kind of cycled me up to the front, and then just, one of those rare times, I got all the breaks in those last couple laps, and yeah, just really kind of surprised it all actually worked out for once.
Yeah, and you mentioned, getting lucky and getting the breaks, and yeah, you just can't be unlucky at these kind of races. But you're one of the guys we see up towards the front. You're aggressive in the draft. You make, a lot of moves that some of these guys might not make, and we saw that tonight with some of the guys content to ride, but we saw you trying to get that third lane moving quite a bit tonight. So I feel like luck kind of meets opportunity, and you kind of put yourself in a good spot to get lucky tonight. And obviously, you had that wreck on the backstretch there, and it worked out with you and David getting separated, and you were able to pull out. And I'm sure David knew he was a sitting duck. I'm sure, coming through 3 and 4, you were thinking that you were going to have a good shot there to pass him. So talk to us about how you decide to make those moves and whatnot, and how you're able to work the draft around here.
Yeah, it was a kind of a learning process for the most part. Just kind of trying different things, and some things worked, some things didn't. Obviously, I spun Kyle Hanshaw about midway into the race, a little after midway, which I apologize to him again for. But because it'd been a while since I really had raced a lot. I have not raced that much over the last 6 months, so it was more just kind of over the course of the race, learning and testing different things and seeing what worked, what didn't, and then at the end, just hoping what I thought I had learned, would work out, and thankfully it did.
Yeah, and you mentioned you haven't raced a whole lot. You've been part of Elite for a while, but you took last season off, and you're coming back at it. You got your win already, got that monkey off your back. So, what are you hoping to accomplish here as you kind of dip your toes back into the water? We're moving to Texas next week, and obviously you're locked into the playoffs. I believe you're running this series full time, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now you get to go out and take some chances and try some things because your playoff spot's locked up, and maybe make some calls that some other guys won't here down the line. So what do you think about your mile and a half program moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely nice to know that, a lot of that heavy pressure for trying to make sure I don't go too aggressive for the playoffs is going to be lifted. Yeah, I really wasn't planning on coming back, but, with Trey Holmes leaving Fueled Up to go to Pro Edge and Cup and then not racing Xfinity, uh, Casey Hatch gave me a call to, sit in the 88, which I'm super thankful for. And honestly, the goal was just to have solid runs because, I know once in a while I can, run maybe borderline top 10 and maybe have a really good run once in a while. So it was more just going in, hoping to have solid runs and, to come out and get a win off the rip is pretty shocking. But I'm just thankful to Casey Hatch and Fueled Up Racing for bringing me back to give me the chance to do it.
Yeah, and I think you're selling yourself a little bit short. I think you got a little bit more pace than what you just let on right there. So I think Daniel Martinez will be a guy that we're going to talk about quite a bit here the rest of this regular season and making some noise in the playoffs.
Thanks, guys.
So real quick, Daniel, before we let you jump out of here,
Yes, sir.
what sponsors are on the car? Who helps get it happen and make it happen? Obviously, we heard you talk about Casey Hatch already.
Yeah, obviously representing Fueled Up. I'm a pretty avid bowler outside of racing for myself, so I have my Storm brand and specifically representing the Storm Ion bowling ball, which beautiful paint scheme made by JD Design. So a big shout out to him. And then on the name rail, which is always special, I have my grandmother's name, which I've had for a couple years, and then last September I lost my grandfather, so I added his name, and so it's really special to have their names on the passenger name rail. And again, big thanks to JD Designs for making the paint scheme happen that way, and just glad I could give them one a heck of a ride.
Well, you sure did that. Congrats on the win, Daniel. We can't wait to see you next week in Texas, and I'm sure you'll be just as fast there. We'll see you then, and good luck the rest of this regular season. Pile on some trophies.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I believe we've lost Jake. I believe he's went and very invested in the Ohio State Buckeyes. So it's as we wrap this thing up. Yeah, I don't know about bringing Carlos up here just yet. I think he's probably pretty frustrated, and we don't want to get Carlos in any more trouble. We gotta protect Carlos a little bit right here.
Fair enough.
But any last thoughts here from you, Dave, or you, Nick, here before we wrap this thing up from Daytona?
I thought it was a pretty exciting race. Had some different names up front. So that's always good. Kind of never know what to expect at Daytona, and that's kind of what we got.
And what about you, Nick? Any closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, I missed I was only here for the last third of the race. So I didn't take in the early racing that you guys saw, but yeah, I mean it was fun to call there at the end. It's always wild here at the end of these super speedway races, but yeah, exciting start to the 2025 A season here.
Yeah, exciting it was. We saw a little bit of everything tonight. We saw a lot of wrecks. We saw some great stage finishes along with some pretty massive wrecks there at the end of those stages. Got to see a green flag pit stop. And then at the end, it came down to two Pro Edge cars. I know one of them is Fueled Up, so we'll give Fueled Up their due there. But working very closely together, and Daniel Martinez gets through there with the win. We saw a lot of great action this week and all week long so far in Daytona. Make sure you tune into the ARCA race tomorrow. And then, of course, the big stage on Wednesday night, the Daytona 500, live on the Elite Racing Network. So real quick before we jump out of here, I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors. Of course, here tonight was the DesignPing 300 in the Mark Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. And then shout out to all our sponsors: Blue Egg Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway, DesignPing, Dave for everything you do here at the Elite Racing Network, keeping us all in line, and of course Chad. Didn't get to talk a whole lot about Chad tonight as he was wrecked early, but he does a heck of a lot for the league, and none of this happens without Chad and Dave working together and keeping us all in line. So we hope you liked what you saw. Make sure you tune back in Wednesday for the 500, and we'll be with you next week at the same time from Texas. We will see you then.